Welcome to Beyond the Velvet Rope, where ambition meets access. I'm your host, Nilos Jr., best-selling author, keynote speaker, and executive business growth coach. If you're a service-based entrepreneur, executive, or minority business owner who's ready to attract affluent clients, elevate your positioning, and turn your authority into affluence, you're in the right place. Each episode, we break down how affluent people think, decide, and buy. And we give you the strategies, stories, and systems that move you from general admission to VIP in your market. For links to my book, my website, and other resources mentioned in this episode, be sure to check the show notes. Now, let's step beyond the velvet rope. Today on Beyond the Velvet Rope, I'm joined by Natiesha Wray Henry, MBA, a South Florida realtor with eXp Realty and a renovation-savvy home advisor, known for blending a designer's eye, an investor's strategy, and an educator's heart. Her work is focused on helping sellers, buyers, and investors make confident, wealth-building decisions while elevating the experience and protecting wealth at every step. Natiesha is also the creator of the Eden Style to Sell system, a proven approach designed to position a property for top dollar results. If you're navigating a move, preparing to sell, or thinking more strategically about real estate, this conversation will sharpen how you think and how you act. Natiesha Wray Henry, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I was doing fantastic. Now I am doing fantastic-er. We're going to have some fun, ma'am.
Yes.
All right. So Natiesha, I shared some stuff about you. Would you share with the audience something that I didn't say, please?
Okay. Well, you gave a lot about who I am professionally. But I think what is closest to my heart is that I'm a mom and a wife, and a very proud one at that. I have two amazing kids and a very supportive husband. I come from a large and loud Jamaican family.
Now, hold on, wait. Okay, so you had to say both. You said large and loud. Well, you said large, loud, and then Jamaican. Okay, so first, let's talk about that, right? So because in real estate, in life, you're working these different cultures. You're interacting with different individuals. Does Jamaican equal loud or not? Just curious. Is it safe for me to even ask that? Because I don't know if that's culturally appropriate.
No, it does not. It does not naturally equal that, but that's just what it is with where I come from.
So you all are just exuberant and energy-filled individuals, and when you get together,
Yes,
you're full of laughter and love.
yes. Every time we get together, whether it's for a celebration of life or Thanksgiving, we just make we're there. We're that set of family. We're large. My grandmother had 12 children on both sides, actually. And so there's a lot of siblings and a lot of, cousins and a lot of just activity. And we get together and we have a great time. So I come from that warmth, that family, that love. And so yeah, that's home for me. So I am a product of that. So I think a little bit of my professional life has to experience, have some of those elements in it as well.
So since that's home for you, let's stay at home for a moment. What has being a member of a large family, what has that taught you? What have you brought from your personal life over into professional life or in your everyday interactions when it comes to coming from a large family?
That's a good question. So love and forgiveness and trust are big things in our family. So one of the things that we do when we get together, we don't just get together and just hang out. We do a lot of things to educate our about our heritage, because we have in America, we are Americans, right? But we come from a culture, Jamaican diaspora. So we're a part of that whole thing. So we have a lot of family members that make it very important to help us understand our culture and to understand where we come from. So that's a huge part of it. And when I say love, forgiveness, and trust, those are things that I've learned from my family, because I've seen family members go through things and still come out loving and trusting, forgiving, being angry, but having that connection that that there's nothing like family. There's nothing like that. So that's huge for me. And for me, my home has always been a place where there's peace, there's joy, um, there's that forgiveness, that like, okay, I can just relax, I can trust, I can just be myself because I'm going to be accepted. And that's very powerful. And I think maybe not realizing it, but looking at it professionally and what I try to do with my renovations and all of those things is to create a little bit of that in each project where a home is a place where people can relax and feel love and feel comfortable, feel accepted. They don't have to put on this mask. They can take it off and know that it's going to be okay. Maybe that's very important to what I've been doing and why I've been doing it, and without even realizing it.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, you all are hearing the revelations of Natiesha Wray Henry here live on Beyond the Velvet Rope. Remember where you heard it first. So let's go there. You talked about in your renovation project. So I mentioned that you are a realtor, but you have this designer's eye, right? And then you're going to think like an investor. So we have the atypical realtor or real estate professional, because I mentioned when we came on, I said Natiesha Wray Henry, MBA. So let's talk about this MBA, young lady. First, why did you get an MBA?
I got an MBA out of frustration.
No. So you can't leave us there. So just give me a little bit, because I have a follow-up question that I want to know the answer to, and we're just going to happen to share it with our audience.
Yeah, I got an MBA out of frustration. I had graduated from UF. And I thought that I had landed the career path that I wanted to, which was, believe it or not, it was in print advertising with the newspapers. That was my whole career.
Boy, look, hey, Natiesha, look at God, look at God working in the background. God was working in the background, girl.
You do it. Exactly. That was my career path. I was set. I had interned as a undergrad, and I landed this job, and that was my trajectory. I was excited about it. I went in there and I was like, this is not for me. What am I going to do? And literally I was in the back sorting the newspaper, because the newspapers would come in and then we would sort them and get them ready for the to check to see if our ads ran and all this and that. So we'd have to have samples as we took them out to show the clients and stuff. So we'd have to sort them out. And I remember seeing an ad for FIU's graduate program. And I swore when I was at UF, I was like, I'm never going to get a master's. That's it. I'm done. I'm just going to get my bachelor and I'm finished with school. I'm okay. 6 months later, I was in that program. I had graduated. From UF to FIU was 6 months. I was in that job about 2 months when I realized I needed to go back and get an MBA, because this is not for me. And I remember very much writing for my entrance essay. I have an entrepreneurial spirit. And it was almost something spiritual about writing that down, that I've never forgotten that essay. That was the first part of it. Because that did not come from me. It came from a deeper place. And that is exactly where I'm at, what I'm doing. I have an entrepreneurial spirit. So I was frustrated with what I was doing. I hated my job. I would go in the bathroom and cry. And I was like, this is not for me. And I said, I got to go. And that was one of the best decisions I ever made to get that.
Stop right there. Because in the time that I've known you, I know about shifts, right? That you've made from working to hating your job. I was going to say not liking, but you even said you hated it, to the point where it would bring you to tears in the bathroom. And then you said, I'm going to take this step of faith, right? I'm going to come in and get my MBA. Then you come out of school, you're working again, and I know you're an educator at the point. Then you make another switch.
Yes, before I became an educator, I went and did some corporate America work, and then I was like, okay, and then I ended up into education. But I wasn't home in that profession.
And so here's what I what I want you to share with the audience. Was there fear? Was there uncertainty in making these shifts? Or had you gotten to the point where you said something has to change and I've got to get into a new environment? And regardless of the answer, if it was fear, discomfort, or if it was easy for you, how did you go about working that process? Because a lot of our listeners and viewers, they might find themselves in a place right now where old Natiesha was, where they're just existing, they're not living, where they're not enjoying this thing, even though it might be financially good, right? It's not talking to that deeper part of them. So what was that process like for you? Was it easy? Was it a challenge? And then what did you do to overcome either of those?
That's an interesting, it's definitely getting me to reflect. So the first decision to make to get that MBA, that was easy. That was actually not as hard as I thought it was going to be. It was like, I was living already at home. It was set, like I had just graduated. Boom. I was just going to go and continue, just knock it out while I was young and early. And, boom, I had my MBA at 23 or 20, something like that. You know what I'm saying? So there wasn't too many factors that I needed. Life hadn't gotten complicated yet. That's the point. I wasn't married, no kids. I didn't have even own a home, none of that. So it was easy to make that decision. Just go back to school, and get a degree and then come back out and start again, transitioning from corporate America. That was a decision that was made for me because it wasn't working out. And I ended up getting fired, which was great for me. Didn't understand it at the time, but that I really needed to let that go. That was toxic for me. And then I went into education and I got good at education. I got great. And I say great because by all indicators, I was great at what I did. I met all the performance benchmarks and exceeded them, got all the accolades that I needed to get to know, okay, yes, I'm doing great, but I hated it. So it sucked my soul just a little bit. Loved the kids, but I wasn't fulfilling that entrepreneurial spirit. That's the truth. And so the transition from an education to where I am now was a huge big deal. And it was so difficult. It was very difficult. God had to really get my attention and make it frustrating to the point where there was no other real choice. Like I needed to do this, even though I had to take that step of faith to do what I was making decent money. I had retirement, I had all those, I had mortgage, I had 2 kids at that point, and it was in the middle of COVID. And I said, I'm going to be a real estate. I'm going to do real estate full time. And I left.
Okay, so right there, Natiesha. So there's a saying, right, that says, "Move before God moves you." Right, and so we always want to be in alignment, but you're saying, man, like He made it uncomfortable. God made it frustrating for me, and so I do want to say one thing I personally know about you is that it's hard for you to give yourself the due credit. So you're like, I was good, and then I want to say I'm proud of you because you did say I was great. Well, I say great because of the accolades and the benchmarks and all the stats and everything. So what I want to look at right now is you, Natiesha Wray Henry, having an MBA, coming into this real estate world, this real estate journey. And no knock on this industry. It's been my home for 20 years, right? But this is an industry where you don't need experience. You don't need high levels of education. I mean, a few $100 and a lucky day passing a few exams and you're in, baby. Come on, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
What has it been like for you as one of the uber educated individuals, someone who has corporate America experience, who's dealt with what I believe one of the toughest work environments being the school system, and you were Miami-Dade Public, right?
Miami-Dade Public.
So a tough school system, so tough environment. So when I look at grad MBA, we come over corporate America, public school educator and then coming into this wild west of real estate, what was the transition like for you? And speaking to those that have entrepreneurial spirits that might feel trapped or stuck in that box inside of those walls, what would you say to them?
Wow.
Hold on. Wait. I'm going to jump in because, man, we got a brain working, ladies and gentlemen. I did not send Natiesha. Well, I shared some of the questions that we were going to discuss with Natiesha, but none of them have been asked so far because we're just volleying back and forth. So I'm loving this.
So this is all like just from the heart. What I would say is, I understand, okay, I got to back up a little bit and just talk about what exactly it was that God had to do for me to get me out of this. Okay, well, this is comfortable. I know this, I don't really want to do this teaching thing, but it's paying all the bills. It's so funny because when I was in high school, I remember loving my literature class. I ended up being a literature teacher, but I remember 10th grade that my English teacher had us read these wonderful books, wonderful novels. And there was one that I couldn't stand about a cockroach. And I thought, how disgusting. How do you have us reading these wonderful pieces of Don Quixote and all these amazing pieces of literature, Siddhartha, and then you have us reading about a cockroach, right? Like, what is that, right? Fast forward when God was getting ready to get me out of education, I had to teach that very same piece to kids on Zoom, 10th graders. And I had to teach it like 12 times, the exact same piece. And I finally got the piece. And the piece was about someone being stuck in a job that they hated, but they kept telling themselves, it's okay. And I'm going to detach from what I really want to do and be, and I am going to just robotically do life. And the person woke up one day as a cockroach. And that was the whole story, that they were so detached from the fact that they were this monster that they were like, I got to catch the train. I don't want to miss my boss, get my boss upset, and all of these dysfunctional things that were happening in their life. And they just disconnected. And I said, oh my God, you're talking to me. And I remember the moment I'm teaching it for like literally maybe the 11th time when I finally realized this was all about me. Hello, Natiesha, I'm trying to get your attention here. You're the cockroach.
That's an eye opener. Hey, so hold on real quick. Ladies and gentlemen.
And that's what it was for me. And I had to pivot.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know you might feel like you and God are not on the same plane, but I'm not sure that you've ever felt like God has called you a cockroach. So you're in a better place than Natiesha was at that time. So keep going, Natiesha.
Exactly. And so in the middle of COVID, where there was all this uncertainty, I had a newborn and a toddler, and a newborn being 3 or 4 months. And I said, I can't do this anymore. I won't do this anymore. I cannot go back into the classroom. I was teaching on Zoom and they were like, it's time for everybody to come back into the classroom. And I was like, I cannot. And I went ahead and I was already actually in the process of flipping a house. So I just said, I'm going to flip this house full time. And thank God I did, because I was able to fully use that MBA mindset, what I learned in school and how to structure this thing that I really didn't know a whole lot about. I had done renovations before, but never on this large scale. We basically rebuilt the house. The foundation and maybe 1 or 2 of the walls is what we didn't touch. But everything else, we had to break it down and start all over again. This house was just really, really deeply in need of restoration. A huge, great job at the end. And it was very financially beneficial, which is what spurred me on to be able to do more and more. But it took that leap of faith and it felt crazy. It felt weird. It felt scary, letting go of what was supposed to be a safe job and a secure future to do something totally different. But it also felt like destiny.
All right. So you mentioned that, and people are going to say, well, sure, Natiesha, God spoke to you through the cockroach piece, right? But I don't know if he's heard me, if he's listening to me. So it's easy for you to make a decision when it comes from above. For you, even making this decision and moving forward, what has helped you continue? Because I know you're saying, well, I flipped the house, that went successful, that was good financially, but it's still this new water for you, right? It's still this new environment, relatively new environment, especially someone who's 2 decades in as to someone who's not a full decade yet. And so I would ask you, what has it been like for you now saying, all right, we've been met with success? But then I know your MBA mind kicks in and you think, okay, I have to plan for all of these contingencies and I have to build this. So how do you balance the entrepreneurial spirit with the mind that you have? Let's make sure we mitigate as many risks as possible and still build and move forward at the same time.
I think it would have to be with having a great team around you, people that you know and trust, that you trust because you've seen their work, you've seen what they do. My thing is, I'm going to be successful, but I can't be successful by myself. I don't even want to be successful by myself. I want to bring as many people along with me as possible. And I want not just my clients to be successful, but the people that I contract work out to, that contractors, the cleaning staff, all of those people. I want all of them to experience that success. So with that, it also has to do with, I guess, disseminating a little bit of the work and trusting that
There's that
these
word again.
individuals got this and they can do this, and that's why they're on the team, so that you are not hindered by making plans and getting everything organized and being able to plan the next step and move in the next direction and be able to understand what the next step should even be. So I guess having that in place, and I really do spend a lot of time nurturing those relationships because they're important to me. They're my coworkers now. The team that I renovate a house with, for example, those are my coworkers. Those are the people that I see every day because I go there every day. It's important for us kind of all to be on the same page in order to get all of those things I have in my business plan and my strategies in order for that to actually happen.
So that's going to take me to my next segment. You talk about your team, and that was professional. What about in personal life? How important is it to have the right people around you as you're building? Because I know that Natiesha Wray Henry, MBA, is an ambitious lady, right? So she's doing a lot family, right? Making sure that you have experiences with the kids, with your husband, making sure that you bring everyone up there. How much difference does it make, or what's the impact of having people around you socially, maybe friends or either colleagues in different work areas, marketplaces that you can have conversations with, that you can hold accountable and that can hold you accountable? How has that played a role in not only your business, but also your life?
It's integral. There's no way. For me, success is not an island. I'm not happy if it's just me by myself. That's not my personality. I need people, right? I am a people person. So I have to have those relationships, but I am very careful about and I have been more careful in the past few months, even since I've met you and you've explained to me and you've shown me as a coach, what I needed to focus on as far as the people that I allow in my intimate circle. So I really have been noticing that I've been a little bit more meticulous about who I bring into that inner circle. But I do know that my success is not by myself. It's a group effort. I might be in certain ways a forefront or the forerunner, right? And the face of things, but there's a whole team that support me. And that includes my kids, and it includes my family, and it includes my friends. I have amazing friends that we don't even talk about real estate. We just talk about stuff, hair, nails, whatever. And I need that. I think everybody needs that. I think everybody needs a strong network of love and support to help just make that well-rounded person.
Speaking of strong network of love and support, I'm going to pause here to give a big, much overdue shout out to my girl, Avril. Thank you for connecting Natiesha and I. And so let's talk about this for a moment. Every room you walk into, Avril, you are so amazing in everything you do. And I love your family as well, Avril. Or should I say, we love your family as well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this. Every room that you walk into now, You're walking in with an expectation. You're walking in with this hunt, this search for something. And that's how we met, right? You going in and saying, man, I need something, and that something has to be in this room. Or at that point, you were like, man, I sure need that something or someone to be in this room. What does it mean now as you are walking through life with this level of intention and I would say clarity, because since we've met, I've seen your level of clarity just continue to increase. And now Natiesha Wray Henry is on a mission. She knows what she wants. She's going after it. And you're at the phase now where you're saying, okay, let me walk in here and expect this thing, but then also let me open my mouth and communicate what it is that I want. So how has that shift to not only being a people person in a room, but now being an intentional people person and knowing what it is that you're looking for, how has that shifted in your life?
I think you mentioned the clarity has been a relief to me, because when you're not sure about what you need to do, where you need to go, you and that's exactly what you are. You're delaying, you're procrastinating, you're twiddling your thumbs, you're trying to figure out what your next step is, and so you're going slow intentionally. Having that clarity has just given me peace, and it has made it so that I know what it is that I need to do, and I'm able to um go after it more aggressively. Oh, it's been great. And now that I realize that it works, and that no, seriously, I was watching a podcast the other day of someone who said, I'm a manifester. I manifest things. I think them, and and I'm like, you know what? I might be a little bit of that too. Looking for someone and finding them, you know.
Nah. Don't say looking for someone and finding them. To go ahead and say it. We family on here. We don't keep nothing from our folks. So may I go ahead and spill? I'm gonna say the milk, not the tea.
Yeah.
Man, ladies and gentlemen, Natiesha Wray Henry came to a real estate event and had the conversation with our loving friend Avril and said, I am looking for someone to help me elevate my game here. She has to be in here. I know she's in here. I'm looking for her. And Avril is much like myself. She hears what she wants to hear. Avril did not hear she did not hear her. She just heard, I'm looking for someone. And Avril came over and she says, Neil, I have someone that I need you to meet and just have a conversation with. It wasn't until we have our initial conversation that I find out Natiesha was looking for she. And so now the joke between Natiesha and I is that I am she. Right. So if you all see me with a shirt or rocking the brand that says I am she, I just want you all to understand that you can thank Natiesha Wray Henry MBA for that.
You know, and the truth is, I'm not totally wrong. There are a lot of a lot of female representation in real estate. That's true. Just like teaching, you know, there's a lot of female teachers, a lot of female realtors. So my mind was like, I'm looking for someone to help me bring my game, step my game up. I know exactly what I'm looking for, but I don't know if I'm going to find it. And I say it to Avril just in passing, and she's like, yeah, well, the person is in the room. So she said to that. She didn't say she. She said the person is in the room, and I thought, okay, well, it's probably a woman because
So really quickly, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want you all to miss what Natiesha just said. She just said it to Avril in passing, right? And this is what's so key about having those people in your life, that when they hear something that you say, it locks into who they are, into their inner being. And their goal is to help those that they love and care about make it to the next level.
Yes.
Because it would have been very easy for Avril to hear, oh, I'm looking for this to elevate my game. She said, okay, yeah, keep looking, right? But then you were sitting down at the table. I had a conversation with Avril out in the hall, and she says, Neil, come with me. And I'm like, and she was like, you have to meet her. And I'm like, and I'm running, trying to keep up. And then I get over there, and here's what I will say. I ask you a question. I said, do you have time to speak now? And for you to take that step, and just have that first conversation and then lead into the next conversation, I want to commend you, because there are a lot of people who have had the opportunity and they stopped short of the opportunity. Right. And so that says a lot. And so once
That's
again, thanks to
unfortunate.
Avril.
But I think it speaks to hunger, though. When you're hungry and you're fed up and you're tired, and I think you have to be aware of that within yourself. When you realize this is not working for me, I need a change. I have to go a different path than where I've been going. Really get to that state. There's no other option. Like, there is no other. When you pray, God, send me somebody, and God sends you somebody, what, like, are you seriously, what, you're not gonna go and do?
So you know what? Me hearing you say that lets me know that I have been the answers to two women's prayers. One is my wife and the other is you. So come on, y'all. That's why I tell everyone I'm God's favorite. So really quickly, Natiesha, a large portion of our audience are minority women, right? So what would you say to them because you have a different set of challenges, you have a different reality than myself as a minority man, right? So what do you say to that woman who is listening? And here we go, right? Especially in real estate. What do you say to her if she's tuning in to this episode of Beyond the Velvet Rope and she's listening to Natiesha and she's on the fence and she's felt that nudge before, right? But she's uncertain. She has kids. She might have a significant other. She might have none of that, but she has this thing in her head that says, well, success is possible for Natiesha, but not for me. Success is possible for the other person, the other complexion, the other heritage, but not for me. What do you say to her right now?
You are perfect just the way you are. There's no problem with you having whatever the heritage is, whatever your socioeconomic background is. God can use anyone in any position to do great and amazing things. But if you find yourself stuck, admit that, hey, this might not be the life that I want. That starts with that first realization, like, okay, this sucks.
Sometimes you got to call it.
I'm a cockroach, and I hate cockroaches. I think they're filthy, but this situation is not for me. And that's that takes a lot. Yeah. And then taking a small step in the opposite direction. Taking a small step in just doing one little thing different. It doesn't have to be quit your job, or, fire your husband or something, but it can just be a small step. And you're the only person that's going to know what that little small step is. It can be something as small as, drinking tea instead of coffee one day, or whatever. It just mix, like, if you're just in the mix, and you just like, I'm stuck in the rat race and I just need to do something different. Just start with, going that way instead of this way for work that day, or just eating something slightly different, or not eating just a small intentional thing. For me, it was putting on my pants the opposite leg, then instead of the right, I start with the left, whatever.
I thought you were going to say the other right. I said, instead of the right, I start with the other right. I said, girl, that's an MBA mind thinking right there.
But just making that one intentional decision of one little thing that you can control, because there's so many things in life, especially as women that are busy taking care of family and everything. There's so many elements that you just can't control. If you just latch onto a small little thing, I think that's powerful.
Awesome.
Very powerful.
So, Natiesha, we could talk about hundreds of things for hundreds of hours, but I am going to go ahead and put this out here publicly. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not the last time you're going to hear from Natiesha Wray Henry, MBA, on Beyond the Velvet Rope. I say that publicly because I am all about public shaming in a positive way. And I know that your comments, that your responses are going to encourage Natiesha to come back on and share more of her story. But I would be remiss if I did not give you an opportunity to talk about the birth of this thing that we have, right? And it's the Eden Style to Sell system. And I am so excited. Look, come on. That right there, that is why we do this thing. That's where this spirit and old Natiesha, the visionary, is coming back. Would you talk to us about this Eden Style to Sell system and why it's so much more than just what a typical average real estate agent might do? Just list the property, put it on the MLS. One, the name is sexy, Eden, Style to Sell. And then system lets me know that you've done this before numerous times, even for yourself. So
Yeah.
I cannot wait for you to share with the audience about this Eden Style to Sell system and how we got here and what the benefits are to sellers.
Okay, well, I am so excited about it. It's new, but then not really new. It's just new that I've packaged it so that people can understand it a lot easier. But the Eden Style to Sell system, the birth of this system came from my company, which is Eden Estate Enterprises. So when I started in real estate, and I kind of mentioned that earlier, as a flipper, I created a company called Eden Estate Enterprises that would purchase properties and then we'd flip them. And we did that a couple of times very successfully. The results were definitely six figures and above, and we were really happy with it.
Don't be telling, hey, y'all get out my sister pockets now. Y'all don't come knocking on my girl door now. Y'all stay out her pockets. She's just a great business person.
But we did well. We did all right, And so we were able to implement a lot of different things with the different contractors that we worked with. We got all the permits that we needed to get. We had a designer come in from the very beginning, from when everything was looking just a mess, to start visualizing, okay, this is what we want and this is what buyers are demanding. That's huge, because it wasn't just, well, I like tile, I like this color paint, and I like, it was, what will buyers find universally more appealing than whatever. And, understanding that each property is unique and it has its own story, be able to tell that story. So that is where the system came from, and where it has evolved to now. At the earlier stages, I was my best client. So that system only served me, because I would buy my properties and I would implement the system, and I had no pushback because I had a great client. My client did not argue with me about why should we stage a property. And I have to tell you this is a funny thing. So my contractors, of course, they're all guys, these rough, tough guys. I would come in there every day and I would be like, working and doing stuff. And then towards the end of the project, they would be like, okay, so we did all of this, so you're ready to sell it. I'm like, no, this is just phase one. We got to do staging. And they're like, why do you need to stage it? Why do you need to do all that? It's beautiful. We did a great job. I'm like, yes, but it's not done. It doesn't have on any clothes. It's naked. We got to paint the nails and do her hair, and we got to get her ready for her first date, And they were like, you're just wasting time and money and energy. When the place was completely staged and they walked in, they were like, bingo, we get it now. So, and it did really, really, really well on the market, and subsequent properties did as well. So I now realize through some different events that I need to start making it available to other people. So that's where the Eden Style to Sell system comes from. Really allowing other people to experience the success that we had with our listings, with our flips, and having them understand how quickly the market and rigorously the market can respond to a home that's staged. When you go to, in other industries, it doesn't really require that much explanation. When you go to a store, right? You go to Macy's or wherever, and you will see mannequins, and they're styled to sell, right? They got their outfit on, they might have accessories, and they look nice. And you see the outfit put together and you go, okay, I see it. I can put that shirt with those pants and those shoes, and I could look just as good as.
And hold on, Natiesha, that's helping people like me, right? So the store, they've done the work, because now, even though I don't have the vision, I'm not a visionary, I can come and I can say, oh, all right, so excuse me, do you need help? Yes, I need that. Like, yeah, you mean we put it all right there at the feet of the mannequin too. So there's the pants, there's the shirt, and the blazers right over there. So in essence, that's what you're doing.
Right, right. And the unfortunate thing is, and I say it's unfortunate because this is the thing that really frustrates me, is that there's some sellers that just don't get the idea. Like they're like my contractors, right? Who's like, the house is painted and the floors are new, so it will sell like magic. No, it won't, because people don't know what this big empty room is. Is it a living room? Is it a dining room? Is it an office? What is it? And in the pictures, which is the most important thing of a listing, because people will come to see the property based on the photography, right? In the pictures, it's even less clear because you can't look around like that. You can't see, oh, there's a chandelier here, so this is probably a dining room or whatever. Like they can't see that. So you have to help the prospective buyers out by staging it, even if it's virtual staging, but physical staging is always best if you can. But I'm all about, and we've used virtual staging in our style to sell system as well. And even for properties that needed deep repairs, we've actually used digital renovations to help the buyers see and visualize. And that was actually a very rewarding experience, because I had a property to sell that needed deep renovations. It needed a kitchen. There was literally no kitchen, no bathroom. It was, maybe, was there a toilet? I think there was a toilet, or maybe not. I'm not sure. There was a hole in the wall where the toilet was supposed to go, a hole in the floor. And we digitally staged it, presented it, and the design plan that we had in our digital listing and our presentation turns out to be exactly what the owners eventually did. And they're having great results. They're using it now as a rental property, and they're having no problems with getting new tenants in all the time. So it worked out really, really, really well. So I'd like to share that system with as many people as possible, because there's a lot of education that still needs to be for owners in regards to staging a property and what it means to have it truly be market ready. Yes, the market has changed. There's a lot of differences. You know, it used to be really hot sellers market, and you throw anything on the market and it would just kind of like fly off. And now it's a little bit more more discriminating, and the buyers are more discriminating. They don't want certain things. For example, carpet. After COVID, they just don't want carpet. They want to bleach their floors. Makes sense, right? The floors are the dirtiest part of a home typically. So they want to be able to bleach those. So, and it's just about educating people on what those things are. And there are things, if your budget is tight, there are ways to present it that you can decide where would be most effective to use the funds that you have to, elevate the listing so that more people can be interested in it. So there's a great potential for things to change. And what I love is that this system could impact all of South Florida in a way that we could just have better listings. Because there are some times when I'm working for a buyer to try to help them find a place, and I'm looking at listings and I'm like, I wouldn't even want to. This is not going to entice my buyer. Like, you have 500,000, 400,000, 300, like, you want to spend it. You want to be excited about the listing, not see something that just isn't ready. Just like a person stepping into Macy's or any store, they're there because there's something that entices.
Okay, so Natiesha, right there, this leads perfectly into my next question. Because there is an easier way of doing business in the way you're talking about. There's an easy way to present and list and hopefully sell a property than the Eden style to sell. What makes you willing to go the extra steps, plural, to put in the extra hours, plural, to deal with the extra headaches and burdens for the seller and the potential buyer? What makes you so willing to do that when there's an easier route for Eden Estate Enterprises, for Natiesha Wray Henry, MBA? Why?
Well, And you know what? It's funny because it kind of goes back to the thing that we talked about at the very beginning about family. And some of my clients have been family and I've been myself. I'm really good at growing people's money. You give me a little bit of your money, grow it. I like doing that. And I want to do that for my clients. I want to put them in a position where they are stronger financially than when they first met me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there's an easier way. You just throw the property up on the market in a hope, wish, pray for good result. But it won't be a great result. It will be a good result. It could be a good, okay result. But if you want to grow your equity or your wealth, really, there's a good and a great way to do it. And in my opinion, like if we're gonna do it, let's just do this thing. Let's not just come in here and just slap something together and put it out there. Let's do the very best we can because now there's other things that we can do with that money. Once we've grown the investment that you have in your home or your property or whatever it is, now you have more options about, okay, what do I want to do next? And that's honestly, that's what I've been effective at, is growing people's wealth. And I say that cautiously because I don't want people to think that I'm just working with billionaires and millionaires and things like that. I'm talking about regular people that might not understand
Yeah.
how home can be the starting point for great wealth. And owning a home can change the trajectory of your children's life.
Good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, Natiesha Wray Henry. I do want to ask one question before we get to before we start having fun. So we talk about the standard and the Eden style to sell system, Natiesha Wray Henry, MBA. There are some things that early on you saw were not fits for you, right? The printing job at the newspaper and then corporate, and you said that it was toxic, and thankfully you were promoted to ex-employee. So you have these standards about you. What are some standards, whether it's business or personal, professional or personal, that you hold in place and are your non-negotiables, right? Because when I hear you speak and when I know you now, there are some things that you are not willing to negotiate on. And it's not from arrogance, it's from protection, right? It's from wisdom. It's coming from a place of moving forward. And so there are just some things that don't get beyond your velvet rope, right? You're like, nope, that mindset doesn't get in. Nope,
Yeah.
that energy doesn't get in. So what are some of those non-negotiables as we get ready to close out Beyond the Velvet Rope?
I love and I hate the fact there's love and hate, but this is who I am, that I am kind of like a very transparent person. My face, you know,
I want to play
face,
poker with you. I'm taking all your money, all
my
of it.
face will tell the truth. So I know that about me and I appreciate it, but I love it about me at this point because that's just who I am. I can't. And so I know I can't deal with the foolishness. And by the foolishness, I mean just not trying, just not putting the effort, the energy. It breaks my heart. It annoys me. It frustrates me. It disappoints me when people just don't do the right thing. They don't try and be what I think God intended all of us to be, which is great. They look for shortcuts. They look for the cheap or the easy way out or things like that. So those things are like, I can't with that. If I'm working with, like, say, a contractor or someone that I am doing business with, and I see that they like to play around like that. Yeah. Like I'm done.
You promote,
That's
hey, so you give them a quick promotion, huh, Natiesha?
I
You're like,
give
yep,
them
you're out of here.
exactly. So that's what I am. I'm authentic. I love being authentic. I don't do well. Like I said, my face is the opposite of the poker face. Like I'm trying, but it comes out. So when people try to have me do things that I don't feel are ethical, that are dishonest, where I have to lie, like I can't. That's just
Okay,
not that's
so
not me. So that I can't roll with that. And I want to be the kind of mother that is not just mothering my kids and saying do this, do that, but I'm living it. And that means a whole lot to me. So if I feel like there's something that's happening, that this is going down a road or a way that is just making me distracted and taking my focus off what is genuinely important, which is God first and my family and just being healthy and all those type of things, that I have to let that stuff go. And move in a different direction, because I have to be true to myself. And I think I spent a lot of time doing my devotionals, and I spent a lot of time doing my meditation, and to try to really be centered with who I am and where I'm going, so I can be intentional and authentic with anyone that I come into contact with.
Natiesha Wray Henry, good stuff, ma'am. So ladies and gentlemen, all of Natiesha's information is going to be in the show notes. So make sure you connect with her, you follow her so that you can see who she is, what she's doing. And as I've mentioned, as I have blackmailed her into doing already, she will be back numerous times on Beyond the Velvet Rope, because we have not even scratched the surface.
Really?
So yeah, so with the conversation that you and I have, there are a lot of questions that I just can't wait to ask. But more importantly than me finding out, I really believe in sharing good, great, positive energy with the audience. And that's exactly what you are. And that's who you are, Natiesha. Sharing your story, sharing your experiences with people so that they can know there is a way, there is hope for me, that I can do the scary but necessary thing and do it with a smile on my face, even if I'm smiling to keep from crying. So I would
Yes.
like to know, can we have some fun now, ma'am?
Oh,
All right.
fun.
No, that was fun. But now this is the part where I am going to ask you some rapid fire questions that I have told you nothing about. Are you open to it?
All the stuff that you said you were that I needed to prepare, but there was no preparation. So okay.
So that's what I'm saying. That's next episode, next time we get together. So are you willing to play around and have some fun, ma'am? Even more fun than we've already had.
Yeah, okay. Let's see.
All right. So I do want to let you know that my legal department, who does not really exist, told me to tell you that you are not legally required to answer any of these questions. Fair enough?
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Favorite color?
Violet.
Why?
Beautiful. It's so beautiful that there's a flower named after it. And the flower is fragrant and beautiful, and it grows wild. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Duh.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have almost done a few hundred of these episodes. This is the first time anyone answered me with duh. Like, hey, dummy. Like, why did you have to ask the follow-up question?
That's the best color.
There's so every other color besides violet on the color spectrum is non-existent. Favorite food. Ladies and gentlemen, Natiesha Wray Henry's favorite food is cookies and cream ice cream. So there we go. Let's rock and roll. Talk about personality revelation. There we go. Batman or Superman?
Superman. Batman is dark. It's kind of gloomy. Superman is more sunny. I don't know.
Mickey Mouse or Bugs Bunny?
Bugs Bunny's hilarious.
So no hesitation. Even living in Florida, the home of Mickey, you're saying you're saying Bugs Bunny, no question.
Bugs Bunny has personality. What's up, Doc?
Okay, so let me ask you this. Do your kids know who Bugs Bunny is?
They do not. They know who Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse and all that, because they did a great job with marketing to them when they were little, but now they feel like they are too mature for they do. It's crazy. It's kind of sad, but.
And what age is this maturity coming in at, Natiesha? Come on.
6, 7.
6, 7. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. So
my daughter is 7 and my son is the younger age, and I can get this all the time at home, and I'm so over it.
So you have a mature 6, 7 in the house, and now they're like, we're so over Mickey and them.
We're yes, Mickey and Minnie, and Yeah, that
So if they're too mature for them, I know they're probably going to be way too mature for Bugs Bunny and all of his
no,
antics.
Bunny is funny, so they might like Bugs Bunny.
And now I know that you have done a
Just
lot of great things as a mother. One of them, one area in which you have failed is exposing them to the world of Looney Tunes and Bugs Bunny. So, Natiesha, you're going to have to make that a priority action item before the end of the
no,
year.
I gotta put that. I gotta put.
Okay, now this is the one that you don't have to answer, but we're always open to hearing this answer. What is a nickname that you have that only your family calls you?
Tisha.
Tisha. So if I see you, I say Tisha, you're gonna be like, where he know me from? Like he must have been at one of the family reunions. He's too quiet to call me Tisha. He doesn't, because you got to scream it loud.
That's true. I have
Okay.
family members that don't even know that my full name is Natiesha. They what? That's your name?
So if they're standing next to you and someone comes up and be like, "Hey, Natiesha," they be like, "Oh, you work for the CIA? You giving them false information?" Like that's your cover story. All right. So I know that you are a creative at heart. So I want to know, what is your favorite book?
My mind immediately went to my childhood book,
Give it to me.
Charlotte's Web.
Ooh.
My
What
mind
was
immediately
it?
went
What was
there.
it about Charlotte's Web?
The characters. I really liked the characters when I was a kid. And it might have been my first chapter book that I read when I was a kid. So I really liked that book. And oh goodness, there have been so many since. But that one probably would be my first book that I fell in love with, and I still have my original copy, and I have another copy for my kids when they get old enough to do chapter books.
So you're not letting them touch your copy of the
My
book?
original copy, which is they don't even know it exists yet.
Okay.
They might
All
know
right.
now, but
Good stuff.
I'm not gonna tell them.
What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Nothing in life is easy.
Do you remember where that came from?
Mom.
Thank you,
And
Mama.
nothing in life is easy. That's actually what it is.
Okay, so what has that done for you?
It's set me up for an expectation that there will be struggles and challenges, and then we just get over it. That's what we do. We come from a people who just okay, it's not easy. Okay, what else is new? Keep it moving.
So hearing that hard, rough, necessary piece of advice from a loving voice is something I think that everyone needs to hear, right? And so to have mommy say that to you, that's beautiful. If you're talking to half your age Natiesha, what do you tell her today?
It gets better. It gets so much better.
That might be the best answer I've ever heard to that question.
Really?
Man.
It gets so much better. And you were right. You were right to trust you.
Don't do that.
You were right.
So think about this. You're looking back right now and telling yourself it gets better and you were right. What does that do to this right here?
I don't even know.
She said, Neil, I see where you're going. You ain't gonna do this to me, boy. Hey, we done made it this far. Don't do it.
Yeah. We sort of leave that there, but there were some times there where it was like, is this really? Because I kind of feel like sometimes I did the most, like this is the most. The other people are doing it half this effort, half this, and you're kind of doing a lot here. But it's okay. You were true to you, and it gets better.
Come on. It gets better and you were right. I love those two. I will give you credit, but that is definitely going in my money book as soon as we're done recording here. I'm writing that down. And then my final question for you, Miss Natiesha Wray Henry, MBA. What is one talent that you don't have that you wish you did? Because I know you're talented in so many areas, so I don't even know if you can find a talent that you wish you had. But what is one talent that you don't have that you wish you did?
I think that's a trick question.
Why is it a trick question?
Because you see, if my mind starts thinking about something like that, the way my mind goes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we're going to strike that question from the record, because I would not have my sister around here be like, Neil, you know, I said I wish I had this talent. So I've researched on how to get this talent. And now I have a 37-point plan to execute. And in another 6 weeks, I'll be able to breathe underwater. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? I'm not playing with you. So no, strike that question. So here's what I would say.
True. My mind is that way. If I really want to be able to do something, that's kind of how my mind works. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing or whatever it is, but
it's a you thing.
It's a me thing. So I'll be like, okay, wait a minute. Let me see if I can figure this out.
So let's go here. My final question. Is there anything that you would like to say to the audience that hasn't already been said?
Keep believing. This is a season where everybody's, so it's okay because it's Christmas season. So it's okay to say, oh, believe. But beyond that season, believe. Hope has a name. Believe.
Ladies and gentlemen, Natiesha Wray Henry, MBA. And the reason I keep stressing MBA is because she downplays it so much. And so
exactly.
So it's really a jab.
It's like being extra.
I know the audience is like, man, she must be very arrogant. She must love her MBA. She could care less. She doesn't even let people know she has an MBA. That's why that's my job. I am she with my pom-poms cheering on Natiesha Wray Henry, MBA. Natiesha, I want to tell you that this has been an absolute treat. I know the audience, the viewers, they are going to benefit greatly from it. Thank you for your transparency. Thank you for your time. But most importantly, thank you for being who you are and being open to doing something like this, because I know that anytime we venture out into the unknown, we're always exposing ourselves. And so it's a very big deal to me. And so for someone who's close to you or seeing what's happening, I can't wait for the next time we're together here on this platform, because I know you're going to have so much more to give to the people, and I don't take it lightly. So I thank you for this time. I want to tell you that I'm proud of you, that I love you, that what you are doing is going to have a ripple effect for generations, because we're seeing that with your clients and their families, and even in your own family. I know that some great things are going to be a result of that intentional effort that you're putting in right now. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for listening to the podcast. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check out the show notes so you can get all of Natiesha Wray Henry's contact information. You can follow her, see what she's doing, so we can be a part of that growth, that success, that trajectory that she's going. And if you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing, make sure you go and check out Natiesha. She is the best in the game. She's going to make sure that she elevates your property, your expectations to a level that it has to benefit you, whether you're buying, selling, or investing. So we love you. God loves you. There's nothing you can do about it. Don't be average. Be world renowned. Peace. Thank you for listening to Beyond the Velvet Rope. I appreciate you investing your time, your attention, and your energy into leveling up your life and business. If today's episode helped you, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and make sure you follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. For more tools on how to help you attract elite clients and build a business that belongs on the other side of the velvet rope, check out the show notes. You'll find my book, my website, and additional resources to go even deeper on this journey. Remember, I love you, God loves you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And until the next time I see you, or you see me, don't be average, be world renowned. Peace.